People, female, cat and human, a lot of differences. We'll start off first here with the ovary right there. So there's the ovary on the left hand side. There we see the broad ligament. That's the broad ligament, and notice it is not a ligament. Membrane, misnamed. Right, so there's the ovary there, and there's the ovary there. Right? Then this little okay, let's pull everything out so we can see. So there is that little covering around the ovary right there. So if this is the ovary, we've got that little covering right there. That is the oviduct right there. Or the uterine tube. If this were the human, the fallopian tube. So notice, much shorter than the human. So what is all of this then right here? And what is all of that right there? That is a Y-shaped uterus right there. Okay? So what we're going to do is, let me cut this out of the way right here. So there's the bladder right there. The fat pockets that will just slip out of the way. Don't have to worry about the vas deferens, so I can cut them more aggressively there. And then there is the uterus as well. So what we see, folks, is Y-shaped right there. Y, like that. Right? The two parts right here, the Y's, those are called the horns of the uterus. And then there is the body of the uterus. Now listen very carefully. The horns of the uterus, right? It's not called the uterine tube. The uterine tube is the oviduct or the fallopian tube, and it's that little area right there. The horns are approximately or comfortably 8 times the length of the human uterus. The horns of the cat's uterus is comfortably 8 times the length of the human uterus. What does that mean? Comfortably, the human uterus comfortably 1 offspring. The cat's uterus comfortably 8 offspring. Right? So the other thing too is look at the size of this, and remember now that is myometrium inside endometrium. Alright, and we can't see that because that is microscopic. Here, macroscopically grabbing onto the myometrium, the muscle. Alright, then there is the kidney on the left hand side, and I really can't see the ovarian vein running up to the kidney. There it is, but look how thin it is, which was analogous to the same as the testicular artery and vein that we saw on the human, right? And there it is on that side, and oops, and thin. All right, and we'll hold on to that. We'll hold on to that thought. All right, there's my bladder, and my urethra now is going to be right there. So there's the urethra. So notice the urethra is anterior to the body of the uterus right there. Right, so there's the urethra right there. There's the urethra right there. And then there is the body of the uterus right there. And then behind that, so there's actually 3 tubes right there, because behind that right there is the rectum. 1, 2, 3 tubes, right? So now very, very quickly, and by the way, there is the vaginal opening right there. So there's the anal opening and there's the vaginal opening right there. Yes? Okay, so we do the same thing with the female as we have done with the male. Well, the guy, notice why this was easier to break, because she was smaller, right? Now, I will tell you what, if we had had one of those big male cats that was leaning over here, it was going to even much, and you would have actually heard loud cracks as we went through the bones, because the bones were going to be much denser. Testosterone, much denser, right? And you can actually feel that when you're cutting, you're like, whoa, like this just slid right through. Alright? So there is the urinary bladder and the urethra right there, folks. And there is the body of the uterus right there. So I'm going to grab onto both of those. I'm just going to just gently peel above the rectum and the anus. And hopefully I'm going to be able to cut right through the vaginal canal and out. Right there. Okay, there we go. So that's actually nice and easy right there. So there is there's the anus right there. And there's the vaginal opening right there. Right? Right, so now what do we see? There now, huge differences between human and cat, because there's my urethra right there, coming out of the bladder. There's the body. Okay, let me see. There's the body of the uterus right there. So the horn and the body. Right there. So you can see that forming letter Y. And
so
notice.
Is that like a cervix?
Then what happens is they are going to meet, the urethra and the body of the uterus is going to meet right there. And that is called the urogenital sinus right there, which is analogous probably to the human cervix. And then anteriorly from that right there is the vaginal canal right there. Right? Which again, like your vagina, very, very muscular. Right? Smooth muscle so that it can actually stretch very comfortably during sexual intercourse and also during birth. Right, so that's the non-pregnant cat. Alright, so now let's go ahead and let's get the pregnant